Hey y'all. Okay, so first things first, I think that is very ghetto that, I've had to re-record these videos for y'all. It's so irritating, y'all, like my phone, but whatever, right? Today, we are talking about getting ready to receive, putting yourself in receptive mode. I am so excited because this is something that I have struggled with, but I'm getting better at. And I think that when it comes to manifestation, it's something that everybody kind of struggles with. So let's just hop right into it. First things first, I'd like to start this video off with the scripture from Jeremiah 29:11, if I'm not mistaken. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, the plans to prosper you, and I'm reading off my notebook, to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. And it is so exciting to know that before we came into this time space reality, that there were plans that were already set before us on this journey to fulfill. And something that's super important is to know that more than likely, if you have this innate desire that is in your heart to do something, then it's more than likely tied to the plan that God had for you anyway, before coming into this time space reality. So that is where it gets birthed. But sometimes we have a hard time when it comes to receiving the next steps, receiving what is actually on its way to us. And I think, just like with all things, we kind of get into our own heads. We have an idea of when we think things are going to happen, or when things need to happen, or we have an idea of how things need to happen. And we have to remember all the times that our ways are not God's ways. Our thoughts are not God's thoughts. We may have an idea from this desire of where the final destination is going to be, but when it comes to the steps of how to get there, it never goes in the way that we plan for it to go most of the time, because there are other lessons, I think, along this journey of life, or on this journey to that destination, that God wants us to learn. There are other people that we have to meet. There are little nuggets that we have to pick up along the way that are going to help better prepare us for whenever we reach whatever that destination or final result is. So I want to talk about some of the ways that we hinder ourselves from receiving, right? Number one, it's probably very unpopular, but it has to do with our level of unforgiveness that's in our heart. Unforgiveness, resentment, bitterness. I have a whole thing, and this is kind of where I get a little woo-woo off track, but just follow me, right? For all of you who don't know, there are 7 chakras in your body, and they are energy centers that we hold in our body. The irony is that the heart chakra is represented by the color green. It is not only for love, but is where you store the energy and the ability to receive the abundance of life, i.e., love, happiness, money, because who doesn't want more money? And sometimes we have a tendency of pinching off receiving those things because we have little blockages that are there. And I recently had a conversation with a lady, and she was like, we were talking about having a blocked heart chakra and what that actually means. And I initially was like, oh man, a black heart chakra, that probably mean you got some unhealed trauma, you dealing with heartbreak. And long and behold, God was like, I'm about to show you what it means, right? So I'm on this spiritual journey myself, and I met with a lady who did a Reiki session with me. And she told me that my heart chakra was blocked, but she didn't go into detail about the reasons that it could have possibly been blocked. So I dabble into all kind of things or whatever. And I had another reading done, and the card kept coming up, peacemaker. And it said, let go of the need to be right. And a lot of times when I have these moments, like within my own personal journey of spirituality, the card kept on coming back up, and I was like praying about it, and I was like, God, look, I don't feel like I need to be right. Go figure, I'm a Capricorn though. I really feel like I always need to be right. Even when I don't say it, I feel like I'm still right. And it was something that had kept coming up. So I began to pray about it. I began to meditate on it, because I was just like, you know, God, like, I'm trying to figure this out, because I don't want to have black heart chakra. I want more money. I want more things coming to me, right? So long story short, I was doing some other exercises, because I go through these exercises in the shadow work, but it's just me asking myself like some of these hard questions that none of us actually want to sit down and ask ourselves. And I did this exercise where I had to go through a list of people to forgive. And as I was going through the list, I was being really specific about the things that I needed to forgive these other people for. And the fourth person that was on that list that I needed to forgive was myself. And I want to share this piece of it with you. Everybody knows that when it comes to forgiving other people, that it has nothing to do with them, but everything to do with you, your peace of mind, and being able to completely let go of a situation. But a lot of times what people kind of leave out is when it comes to forgiveness, you've got to take time to forgive yourself. It's really hard when you're trying to manifest something, and we need to know the what's, the hows, the whens, the whys. And we feel like we need to know that because in this human body, we want to be able to control everything. And it's not for us to control. It's for what is there for us to control when it comes to manifestation is really understanding the what and really understanding the why. But the how and the when is up to God. That has nothing to do with us, as long as we're doing our part in the actionable steps that we need to take. But anyway, back to forgiveness. Something that people kind of always leave out is the fact that we've got to go back and forgive ourselves. Sometimes it's hard for us to manifest things because we have issues with trusting not only God, but trusting ourselves. Because in the past, we might have made a mistake, and then it alters our judgment, right? It alters our judgment of what we think we're capable of. And we don't even realize that our unforgiveness is the very thing that's keeping us from having an open heart chakra to be able to manifest the abundance that life has for us. And the thing about it is, abundance is always there. It's always around us, but harboring the negative feelings, the lower vibrational feelings of unforgiving other people and unforgiving ourselves definitely just blocks us. And sometimes if you're wondering why things aren't coming as fast as you want them to come, it's probably some inner work somewhere that you've got to work out between yourself. And I can make another video going a little bit more in depth into all of that. But just know forgiveness is tied to the heart, and the heart is tied to your level of abundance. So you might have some hard work to go and do, which is causing you not to be able to receive. Because if you don't trust yourself, if you don't trust others, then how are people going to be able to bring in some of these blessings that you need, right? Because more than likely, if a blessing is coming your way, if a manifestation is coming your way, it's not just falling out of the sky. It's coming by way of information from a person, by gifts of a person. And if you are still dealing with the fact that you have trust issues with people from previous situations, then you just don't know how you're putting up a block, how you're putting up a stop sign to the blessings that are on their way to you, right? So I hope that wasn't like all over the place, because I felt like it was kind of all over the place, but I feel like you will understand what I'm saying whenever you listen to this. Anyway, I'd be so happy to hear what you guys, your feedback on that. Anyway, moving on to number 2. I think I have 4 ways. 1, 2, 3, 4. Anyway, moving on to number 2. The reason that we have trouble receiving is because we have a hard time accepting the love. We have a hard time accepting the compliment. We have a hard time accepting the help. We live in a world that we've been conditioned to think, especially women, but I think kind of men too. Like, our ego and society has conditioned us to think that we got to be able to do everything all on our own. And some of us grew up in households where even if we had a 2-parent household, we might have had a really dominant parent that is very independent and headstrong, or we might have grown up in a single parent household where we watched our mother or our father be very independent, headstrong, figuring it all out. And listen, sometimes you go through seasons of life where it's like that. But the reality is we serve an abundant source. We serve an abundant God. We live in abundant life. Abundance is all around us. So abundance is not just in money, but it comes in resources. It comes through people. It comes in the ability for them to be able to help us. We don't have to carry everything by ourselves all the time. So if somebody is coming in and they want to help you, accept the fucking help. If somebody is coming in and they want to acknowledge that you look nice today, instead of backing that compliment with a, oh, you know, this is just an old shirt that I just had on, or oh girl, thank you, you know, I really feel like my hair really is a mess today, or you know what, you know, just fucking take the compliment. Accept it. That's like one small thing that you could do to start preparing yourself for the greater and the bigger abundance that life has to offer you, is by accepting the small things. And I kind of talked about it in the video about gratitude, but we can sometimes overlook the simplest things that life is trying to show us, that God is trying to show us. Like, I have all of this abundance for you, but whenever I try to serve it up to you, you kind of like kick it to the side, or you act like it's not as important. Understand that when it comes to manifestation, we kind of look at things and we want to quantify things from the human level of, oh, this is something small, this is something big, but it's all energy at the end of the day. And when you're able to understand that $1 is the same energy as $100,000, and you recognize it as such, and nothing is bigger or greater than the other thing, I think it makes it easier for us to kind of put in, or easier for us to grasp the understanding that we're worthy of it all. Oh, I didn't even write that down. But I think sometimes what hinders us from our ability to be able to receive is understanding that we are worthy of it all. We are worthy of receiving all of it, no matter what size it is. Because it's all energy at the end of the day. The same energy that makes the dollar bill is the same energy that creates the trees outside. Like, we serve an abundant God. I'm going to keep on saying that because God is the universal source of all things. All things created came from the universal source. And through the lens of the universal source, no one thing is bigger than the next. No one thing is more special than the next. And if we came into this life to live a life full and abundantly beyond what we can ever ask or imagine, then we should be able to receive all things. So take your human lens off of it, right? And get and really see it through the eyes of source energy, through the eyes of God, the creator of all things. You know what I mean? All right, anyway, moving on. I think something that also kind of hinders us from our ability to receive is not really knowing exactly what we want. And I think whenever I made the video about us being able to relax and focus, you can get distracted by all, because we live in such an abundant world where it's like, this looks great, that looks great, oh, let me try this. And we live in America where we have the ability to try and taste and dabble into this and dabble into that. And there's nothing wrong with figuring out what it is, or trying a bunch of different things, but it's until you get like super focused on what it is that you truly want. What is it that you truly desire? If in the month of May, because we're in the month of May, you want to be able to attract an additional $1,000 into your life, really focus on that, right? Start off focusing on that goal and open yourself up to be able to receive that, and understand that when it comes to receiving the things that we are looking for, it does not always come in the way that we desire it to come. It does not always come in the way that we think from our human lens, our point of view, how it's going to come. Because sometimes $1,000 might be somebody calling you on the phone and say, you know what, I got a rack I want to give to you. Sometimes $1,000 may come in oh, I found a $50 gift card in an old wallet a couple of days ago. And then I forgot I had a bank account that had money in it. That's another $200. That's $250 that's already been attracted into your life. And I'm telling you what I know. I'm telling you what I know because this literally happened to me. I get a notification from Chase Bank. I'm a Regions banker. I get a notification from Chase Bank the other day. An update has been made to your account or whatever. I was like, dang, I forget that I have that Chase account. I've been having it for the last like 4 or 5 years, but I forget that I have it because I don't have a debit card that goes with it. So it's not like when I open up my wallet, I see the debit card. I remember I have the account. I don't have the app on my phone. I just got an email randomly. I go and check the account. I got money in the account. What? I literally am going cleaning up the other day, cleaning up my space, going through my wallets, my old wallet. I'm sitting in the parking lot at Kroger because the old wallet was in my glove compartment. I pull it out. I look. I'm like, oh, it's a gift card. Let me just call and see. $50 on a gift card, y'all. Like, so again, like sometimes we have and I'm just using money as an example. Sometimes we might have a specific amount of money that we want to attract into our life in a certain time frame. And we don't even realize that it's being given to us, but maybe just not all at the same time. And maybe it's coming through different sources. And it's such a limited way of thinking that you want to attract a certain thing into your life and to think that it's going to come to you at the same time in one way. When you really understand the concept of the fact that we serve an abundant God and God is source energy, there are millions of different ways that things can come to us. Like we say that we want to make 100,000 a year, and we totally negate the idea that God gave us 2 years ago that could probably make us that 100K and more. You know, sometimes deciding that you want something doesn't come in the cake. Sometimes it comes, yesterday it came, the eggs came. A week from now, the milk is gonna come. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes the recipe for what it is that we're looking to attract into our lives is being given to us, and we just like kick it to the side like it ain't shit. And the whole time God is like, silly girl, silly boy, I'm trying to give you exactly what it is that you want. But there is a certain level of work that has to go. It's a certain level of awareness to be able to realize that these things are being attracted into your life. But then there's also a certain level of work once you have the awareness to know what's been given to you to actually go forth and take the action to make that desired result come about. Because even though we live in this abundant world, nothing is just going to fall into your lap. Like I really hate to be the one to tell you, but that's the truth when it comes to this manifestation shit. Sometimes it's just like, oh my God, but it's normally something that you have done in order to make it come to pass. All right, moving on, because I felt like I kind of stayed there a little long. The last thing I want to say is let go and let God. Like, oh, the ability to be able to detach. Detachment. That is the key to manifestation, right? I can tell you guys this story. This was last year. And some of you who are watching this may already know this, right? I was laying in bed one Saturday morning. I woke up kind of early and I was like, you know what? I need to start dating again. Like, I need to like get back on the scene. I need a man. And I was like, what kind of man you want, me? And I was like, oh, I want him to be fine. I want him to be tall, dark, and handsome. You know, all that surface level shit. But like, seriously, like, what kind of man do you want? I want somebody that has ambition, that has their career already taken care of, that knows what they want out of life, or at least, you know, whatever. So I started going through different industries of like, how can I meet this man? Because you're not gonna meet him in your bed, right? So, or you could if you get on like one of those dating apps. But I'm like, how am I gonna meet this man? So I'm like, do I want a man in the industry of like entertain? No, I said, let's start with sports. So I start going down people in sports, and I'm like, nah, I ain't trying to be a housewife dealing with all that drama. So then I started going down people that was in my current industry of like working in hair. And I was like, well, a lot of men that work in the hair industry are gay. So don't want that. And then I was like, entertainment. Ooh, let's go through entertainment. Let's go through some actors. So I'm like, ooh, what's a guy from Get Out. So I go and I follow him on Instagram. I'm like, he kind of cute. David, whatever his name is. Like, he kind of cute, tall, dark, and handsome. All right, I can kind of see that. And now I'm laying in bed and I'm like, what's that dude's name from Queen Sugar? Kofi. Let me go find Kofi on Instagram. So I go on Instagram, start following the guy Kofi from Queen Sugar, right? And I'm going through his page. I'm looking through his pictures. I'm like, damn, he's so fine. Oh my God, I love him. Like all my friends know, as soon as I meet somebody, I'll be like, oh my God, I love him. So I'm going through his pictures. I'm like, oh my God, I love him. And I'm like, oh wait, I forgot they filmed that show here in New Orleans. Damn, that would be so fucking cool if I could run into this guy in New Orleans and he could be my man. And I just sat there for a second and I really like envisioned like running into him somewhere. He was so cute. I would be smiling. He would be smiling. We would be Black excellence together. I imagined us like walking on the red carpet together, like all of that. And I did this probably for like a good 10 minutes, like really visualizing and getting into it, right? Then I just went on about my day. I took my kids to the park that day. I think we got snowballs. We like rollerbladed, skated, whatever. And that evening, their dad ended up picking them up early to take them for the rest of the weekend. So I was like, I'm gonna just go to NOLA Art Bar. That's my thing. So I get dressed up to go to NOLA Art Bar like I always do, like whenever I get free time and I have a book with me. So I go and I sit at the bar with the book. And I look up and I see the tall, light-skinned guy from the show Queen Sugar walk through the door. And I said, oh my. And by the time I got to God, in was walking Kofi. And I was like, shut the fuck. What the fuck? How the fuck? I just thought about this man 12 hours ago. Like, no shit, y'all. It was 9 o'clock in the morning that I was daydreaming about this dude. And by 9 o'clock that night, when I was in NOLA Art Bar, he was walking through the door. And I was like, long story short, didn't even talk to him. He kept walking up behind me and I was just too nervous. I had a sweat mustache. My armpits was sweating. I was so nervous, y'all. I couldn't talk to him, but I could not stop thinking from the moment that I saw him to literally into like weeks later, how the fuck did I do that? And how the fuck did I do that so quickly? And the key to it is detachment. Something that nobody talks about. I mean, I feel like people talk about it when they talk about manifestation and stuff like that. But really, the key to manifesting some shit is being able to visualize it, romanticize it, literally get the feeling and get into the moment of it, and then being able to let that shit go and be okay with life, whether it happens or not. Because when I went back and I was analyzing everything, it was like, how the fuck did I do this? Well, I did this because I thought about it and I literally went the rest of my day and I did not think about him at all, like at all, because I thought that it would be so cool in the moment when I was daydreaming about it. And it wasn't like I thought that it couldn't happen because it was very plausible. He works in the city that I live in, like it's so plausible that you could run into somebody. New Orleans is a very small place. So it can happen, but like, will it happen? Fuck, I don't know. And if it happens, it happens, and that would be awesome. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. Like, I can go find another dark, tall, stark, and handsome man to date or whatever. But yeah, it's the art of being able to let go. It's the art of detaching from the thing that we desire so much. We put ourselves in resistance when we over obsess about the thing that we want to attract in our life. Everything is vibrating, right? This computer, this headboard behind me, we get so caught up in the 3D realm of things, forgetting that everything is vibrating at a certain level and you attract what you are. Like I told you guys in another video, you are who you are, who you are, who you are. You are what you think about. You are what you think about. So whenever you realize who you really are, you start vibrating at that level and you have no choice but to interact with things that are vibrating at the same level as you. But sometimes when we're over obsessing about something, we're no longer vibrating at the same level of the thing that we say that we want, which puts us in resistance of actually getting it. So yeah. So before I go though, there's this one practice, I believe it was Louise Hay that I learned this from on a YouTube video. And it's an affirmation that I guys want you to take with you for the rest of the month of May and through the rest of your life. It's a practice that she does. She says, you just lay in your bed or go outside with your arms stretched as wide as you can, and you affirm to yourself, I am open and ready to receive. I'm open and ready to receive. So anytime that you find yourself in vibrational misalignment with the thing that you want, just get to a place of calm and remind yourself, I am open and ready to receive. And understanding receiving doesn't always come in the way that we think is going to come. So I'm open and ready to receive in whichever way you want to bless me. I'm open and ready to receive divine abundance in all shapes and forms. I'm open and ready to receive in expected and unexpected ways. I hope this video was a blessing to you guys. Thank you so much for listening. Make sure that whenever you see the link, you leave some comments below. Let me know your thoughts. I'd be so happy. I love when you guys write back to me because it's always a great dialogue. So anyway, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next video.